Hey, what's up, y'all? So in today's car chit chat, I am starting a series on going back to juvenile justice, aka your girl is going back to the jails. And so let's go ahead and tap into this juicy chit chat. All right.
Funny how the story goes, little hope but bigger dreams.
Hey, y'all. So welcome back to this juicy, held on to information that I've been keeping from y'all for a while. And so if you have been connected with me for a while, or maybe you have either watched some of my series around leaving my 9-to-5 job, you would have heard some very interesting stories around me leaving my 6-figure job, a job that I was doing overtime at, getting paid well over 6 figures, a job that I actually loved. So I'm a clinical psychologist. I really have fell in love with providing in-facility and aftercare services for those who are in the correctional facilities. And I had a lot of my experience working with teenagers. And so part of my job over 9 years ago, it might be 10, over 9 years ago, was that I had been placed at, or I chose and put my bid in when I applied to work in the juvenile camp. I also went from there to juvenile hall overtime on the weekends. I then decided to dibble dabble into going into Twin Towers, county facility for men, downtown Los Angeles, for overtime as well, because I was really trying to see, did I really want to keep working with kids, or did I also want to blend working with adults? I quickly learned that I love working with adults. I just did not like working the way my job was set up, overtime, in the county facilities. And I think a lot of it was due to the lack of not being able to provide actual services, but instead I was more seen as an assessor by doing the intake, so that then the men can be placed in like the proper housing, right? The block, like in the jail. And so after about 2 months, with honestly about 6 shifts, I just said I didn't want to work with the adults, at least in that capacity. But I did really like aftercare. I like, I'm not going to say long-term services, but at least they're linked to long-term services. So alongside of that, again, working in the camps, working in the halls, and then going into aftercare, I had my share for up to 5 years of working in different types of capacities with kids. And some of the kids, unfortunately, would be seen by me in various programs because the recidivism rate is fairly high, especially for juveniles in LA County, or at least it was before all these changes started to happen. But I really love the work itself. And one of the main reasons, and I'll link the videos that I have about sharing my story while having my 9-to-5 job, the facilities itself did not make me dislike my job. I really loved the relationships I had built with Department of Probation, with some, not all, of my colleagues. That's kind of spelled out in like various podcasts as well. But I know that the work ethic and maybe even the mental health of the other mental health providers played a role with how everybody pretty much showed up to work. And over time, I just started to realize that certain systems were not set up for success. And even though we had known that, and it's still definitely not perfect right now, is that the people who are running these programs for short-term and long-term mental health services sometimes don't seem to have the best interests, not just in the kids, but also in the staff that serve the kids. And that's one of the reasons why that's the main reason why I left my job, because, I think that if I would have stayed at the camp, but the drive honestly will take you out, doing it for 1.5 to 2 years. I was driving like 2 hours to and from work 4 days a week back to back. And so that's what took me out of there. But I will say that the difference was at the camp, the reason why I experienced such a level of gratitude for the clinical supervision and guidance that we received, in addition to the director at that time, rest his soul, he's now no longer with us, but these individuals had worked either in the correctional facilities and or they had worked with the same type of clientele, even if it wasn't in the jail. And honestly, I just have another level of respect because jail ain't it ain't for the weak, you know what I'm saying? And so I have another level of respect for someone who has worked their way up the ladder, even if it may not have been the facility that we're at, and they have experience serving this certain category of individuals, because these are individuals who are awaiting court to see if they're going to go to camp or CYA or be charged as an adult. That's a lot. In addition to, in other facilities, they've already been sentenced and they do have to walk on eggshells because you can't catch another case so that you can go home on time. And then some kids don't want to go home on time because they have not the proper housing arrangement. But again, now we're speaking cultural competency. Not everybody takes that into consideration, and they may just see a kid acting out when in reality, a good clinical supervisor, which is the ones that I had at the camp, and some of the ones that I had in the halls in terms of like my direct clinical supervisor was really good, is that they saw that some of these kids were acting out because unfortunately jail was safer than going home, whether it be they have a green light on their life or whether it be they're going to a non-stable environment, and unfortunately jail has provided the structure that the kid thinks that they need. So with all that said, I had always told myself I don't dislike working in the facilities, but if I come back, I will come back on my own terms. And my own terms is defined by, but not limited to, the rates that I set for my services, the programming and curriculum that I believe clinically is best for these kids. I want to come back in a space where I can build relationships with people around me, adults that are serving these kids. And bigger than that, I'm willing to be patient. And in the meantime, I'm still going to serve people like those kids, like teens, transitional age youth, and full-fledged adults that may be in a second chance program. And I'm going to do what I love and what I know I do well, which is bring my Comptonian, right? And I'm going to be able to bring in my street smarts and my street knowledge blended with being a clinical psychologist. And I'm going to show these individuals that even though we may have walked clearly two different paths in life, there is another side to your success if you want it. So let's do mindset work. Let's do trauma-informed care. Let's talk about money mindset. Let's talk about if you want a business, who do you need to show up as in your first construction job? You know what I'm saying? And so I'm here to tell y'all with this brief intro that your girl has secured a contract through relationship building over the last 10 plus years with an agency. They got the contract. And see, here's the thing. They didn't have to invite me, but they know I'm good at what I do. I'm going to toot my own horn. And they also know I have a way of connecting with these clients that a lot of mental health professionals don't. And yes, I use my background to be able to connect with them on a deeper level. And so I am going back to the juvenile justice programs. I actually have been holding on to this information for a couple of months because at first it wasn't secure, then it was secure, but we didn't know the schedule. Now your girl's on a schedule, and as of today, I'm going in 2 days. So I said that this is going to be a series because I want to report back to y'all like what my first day was like, like going to school. I already done went through the training and all that stuff, but I'll combine all of that with like my first day. And this would be the opportune time to do it because my drive ain't for the weak either. I got to drive a good amount of space because y'all know they put these jails in the middle of nowhere, but in some good neighborhoods. Hello. And so it'll be a mixture of going to jails like juvenile hall, and I'm gonna say long-term facilities because even the way that juvenile justice is broken down, I'm gonna be in there taking notes because I'm about to ask probation a lot of questions. And here's the best part. One of the facilities is the facility that I left. Oh, I can't wait to go back in that joint. Sorry if I got loud. So my mom and everybody was like, do you think that the same people working there like in probation and mental health? I said, I don't know. I highly doubt it based off of what the heck's been going on in this news. But if I see somebody, they already know I'm good for it because they were not happy that I left. But if it's some new people, I know how to build relationships. I know that we have different roles. I don't know how people see mental health, but I'm just there to make sure that everybody can do their job well, whether it is the juvenile inmates or whether it is probation, because I always got something to say to lift somebody up. Hello. So let me know how excited you are for me that I have been waiting 10 years or almost 10 years to go back to something that I declared a long time ago. But I'm doing it on my own terms. And I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you gave yourself permission to say no to something, leave something behind because it wasn't good or healthy for you or your business or your success right now? And you, by the grace of God, believe that one day you were going to circle back bigger and better than ever. Hello. All right. So I will get back to y'all probably in like 3 days to let you know what the orientation was like, because I technically did that last week. And then I'll also walk you through just like, what are my aha moments with going back and filling the facility, because I already got my contract and schedule for the rest of December for one facility, but I went to orientation at another facility because I did virtual orientation at the facility that I'm going to. And I also will be able to talk to y'all about just the differences in the different levels of services for these kids and all that kind of stuff. So if you ever wanted to work in juvenile justice, or maybe you work with these individuals in a different setting, I'm your girl. If you got questions, let me know. If you want to hear more about my past journey, but broken down in a more simplistic way versus me just leaving my job, let me know too. If you're new to me, subscribe. I love you. Hope you come back, like this video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.